We are here today with Markus Frantz. He's the Chief Information Officer of ÖBB Holding. Welcome, Markus.
Thank you.
ÖBB is the largest mobility service provider in Austria. In the last year, you transported more than 500 million passengers and more than 115 million tons of cargo. You have more than 41,000 employees, and with 96% punctuality, you are one of the most punctual rail services in Europe. This sounds like something that requires a lot of precision and a lot of very advanced technology. How does the technology at ÖBB work?
If you want to achieve the punctuality level, the safety level, or the quality level that we are committed to and that we defined in our goals for the organization, you naturally have to, on one hand, build on the people, on the commitment of the people, and then the technology that you use for the processes. We do talk about the real technology, meaning if we talk about the rolling stock, the wagons that we do have, the locomotives that we do have, plus we do talk naturally about the computer systems for IT and also for operational technology, which we are using to ensure that all those elements really work integrated with each other. And the integration, that's most important part that we have to ensure.
How much of your time do you spend on current topics, on maintenance, and how much of your time do you spend on where will ÖBB be in the next 10 years?
Me personally?
Yes.
Me personally, I would say it's 60% more the strategic elements and 40% are related to current operations, but also more from the direction that we're heading to.
Could you tell us a little bit about your mission and how the digital business strategy looks in practice?
In general, first of all, the digital business strategy is a subset of our organizational strategy, the business strategy. And the business strategy clearly states that we want to be the most efficient mobility provider, mobility services provider in Europe. And we want to increase the service and in general the quality for our customers. This is what we want to achieve. We have these 500 million passengers that we want to achieve. We have this 150 million tons that we want to transport. But we do not want to transport just the tons. We do not just want to transport the passengers. We want to do it in an efficient way because at the end, every taxpayer contributes to the operations that we have to stabilize. So they do fund the money. So we have to do it most efficiently as possible. Consequently, we have derived the digital business strategy, and this is running under the term of connected mobility. We, again, end-to-end mobility for passenger and also businesses. So the customer has right now a split, divided experience. And what we want to achieve now is that we say it's seamless connectivity. We want that you can enter in the railway station, and once you enter into the WLAN there, you are automatically also guided into the railjet. There are technical pre-settings that we have to ensure, and this is what we're currently working on. We do work on the standardized ticketing. We have our ticket shop, which does do the actual ticketing, and the ticket shop should be used as the Austrian-wide ticketing system. We have 1,500 different option items that at the end influence the best price that you as a traveler do get. This is related towards the passenger, connected traveler, but we also talk there about analytics, where we want to get a lot of information about how the people move. So really Fahrgastsstromanalysen, where we do take this information, where we do know where do they come from, where do they go to, how long do they stay where, because this is a question which we need for our infrastructure, because there it's a question in the railway stations, we do have the shops, and what is the frequency in front of the shops? What can we do provide as additional offers towards the shop providers that they can communicate with our customers that are moving and passing by. So these are options that we need to have. Plus, we do take and want to take this information then in connection with our information that we have from the WLAN in the train, that we can state what is the occupancy in the individual wagons. Right now, it's not possible. But we We want to achieve this, that we can provide you on your mobile the information up front. My train is located like this one. This is the setting of the wagons, plus these and these wagons are completely crowded. Don't even try to enter there, but you should go to this wagon. Right now, everybody, when is entering into the railway station, typically the people tend to stay close towards the staircase. And everybody wants then to enter the train there. And then we do talk about how long does it take to get all the people, all the masses into the train. On the other hand, we want to be punctual.
How do you define the boundaries of mobility? And is aviation potentially going to disrupt the rail passenger transportation industry?
We are very much aware and believe in the fact that we will have autonomous pods. They will come, no question about that, and we have to integrate them into our offering. There's a clear understanding we won't own all this. There's no ambition that we do want to build up our own fleet of pods that we then use for the last mile. Never ever. But we
Pods
have
are flying vehicles.
whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Pods can be flying vehicles, but they can also be the pure autonomous minibus or even smaller vehicle that you use for the more outer skirt parts. Right now, if you look at the marketplace, you do see that the companies, the sharing economy is very much focusing on cities. So they do offer car-to-go drive. Now you find them in every big city, but you do not find them in the regions. You do not find them in the small Gemeinden somewhere outside. But they do need also these kind of offerings. So the part is here, and this is where we are in discussion. We are currently probing with micro-öffentlicher Verkehr, micro-public transportation.
So from the perspective of the consumer, you are kind of the Uber for transportation, connecting them to vehicles that you partially own, like the
we have our own car fleet right now. We have Ride and Drive, which we do offer our customers. And because we do have the cars, we need them for our daily operations, but they are not all the time fully occupied. And that's the reason why we do have this as an additional offering. So it's a better utilization of what we have. We have one startup company, which is the Wegfinder, and the iMobility, and iMobility is Wegfinder. This is the app which right now does provide you the information. When you do say A to B, it does tell you how to come from A to B, all the different options they have integrated, that you can buy automatically the ticket from ÖBB. Yeah, good. But they also offer that you can buy a ticket by Westbahn, which not everybody in our organization likes, because we have to also be willing to disrupt ourselves and bring up an offering, because at the end it's about the customer. And we want to know and we need to understand the customer, the real customer. We need to build up this understanding of the customer. We need then to build with the data analytics on the customer that we then can provide more tailored offerings towards the customer.
So do I understand correctly that you need to position yourselves more as a overall mobility provider and platform in the minds of the customers?
Also,
yes.
First in the mind of our own people,
yes,
that they do understand we are not just track bound, but definitively for the customers, we are the full length scale of mobility. Our understanding is we do have definitively one competitive advantage, because we have built the ticket shop. The ticket shop is the solution that is currently in use for all the ticketing. And I mentioned it before, and this is something which you don't find in Europe. There's nothing comparable existing in Europe, and not even in the whole world. There's no such system which does provide you with the option to really do select all different kind of options of ticketings, independent of the underlying region that you're working with.
Nowhere else in Europe?
Nowhere else. This is something that the company achieved, and this is something that's the reason why there is this understanding. We have a really single opportunity to do that, at least for Austria, plus a little bit more far-reaching into the connecting countries, because there we do also additionally have the capability to sell tickets for them. This is something which is currently positioning us strongly. That's the reason why we want to push it and also ensure that we use it really for Austria, that everybody in Austria does participate on this one. And we have right now a pilot running with Tyrol, and this shall go live now in October once the contract is signed. Technically, we are ready, and then you will find in Tyrol a white labeled product, the ticket shop ÖV Buchungsmaschine. And the ÖV Buchungsmaschine will be the solution for Austria-wide. That's the ambition. We do have a management which is willing, even though they could do the most easiest thing right now, our results, financial results are very good. And so we had again one of the most successful years in the history of ÖBB, wonderful. So we just continue like we currently do. But instead our management decided that we have to start a program to optimize us now, to prepare us for the future, because we do foresee that there will be changes coming. And that's the reason why we said why we need to have these strategies, why we need to have this adoption, why we need to look for alternatives which do stretch also a little bit the organization and the willingness to change. Because this is a transformation, also a cultural transformation. We do lose 1/4 of our staff in the next 5 years, 1/4. And this is based on retirement. And we have currently the situation that in case that we wouldn't do all these activities, we would have to replace every single one of them. Our ambition is that we want to use the opportunities from digitalization, from automation. Therefore, we need much, much more technology to reduce and limit the requirement to bring in additional new staff, because the problem is you won't find them.
To what extent do you feel that the fact that ÖBB is a national organization focused on the national Austrian market, to what extent does that limit your ambitions to become a platform?
On one hand, ÖBB, if you do just look at the rail cargo business, we are already international. We do international business. We do work in 12 different countries. If you look at the passenger transportation, luckily and also sadly, you can see it however you want, there is something outside of Austria. And there are travelers coming from outside of Austria and they go outside of Austria.
To what extent are you scouting startups in the mobility space? To what extent are you investing? Are you invested in funds that are focusing on mobility as a segment? What is happening there?
We do, to a certain extent, scout. We do check on the market what is going on. As I mentioned, we have iMobility, which we founded together with a startup support, and which is now established. But purposely, we kept iMobility as part of the holding. So on one hand, we gave them significantly reduced governance so that they can much more freely operate as it should be with a startup, and that they are entitled to cannibalize certain things that we do in our real business divisions. Digital expedition or digital logistics, there we do screen on the marketplace what are companies that are, or startups that do work in this area, might they be interesting, yes or no? And this we do sometimes with really professional scouting companies. We do work with companies like WeAccelerate, etc. So really to get ideas, to get innovation.
Mm-hmm. You need to hire very smart technologists in your company in order to make the digital transformation towards a platform business happen. What types of people are you looking for?
Young or in general ambitious people that are interested and willing to think out of the box. You might not assume this in regard to ÖBB, but we definitively do have these islands where we do want to have people that do think out of the box, that are willing to challenge. I brought in, for example, a person who is directly for the digital transformation, a guy who is coming out of the online gaming industry.
Where is this education going to come from? Is it going to come from the private sector? Is it going to come from the public sector? How are we going to get the reskilling of our talents in Austria that we need?
It definitively will be and has to be a joint initiative until the government, with all the standard instruments will be ready to do so, to support that, definitively the private sector has to do it.
Do you think our government is doing enough to ensure this, or could there be more initiatives to allow more inflow of talents from abroad?
Let's say it this way, the discussions that we currently have generally in the marketplace and the political spectrum are naturally giving some question marks towards the people from abroad that might be interested to join in. I think there are a lot of good people inside of the governance that do know that we need to be open up, and our Ministry for Digitalization, she very clearly stated that we need to bring in and embrace and have more opportunities, more options. And in the industry also gave very clear signals that we need to have this, and that we have to even the immigrants that are willing to do a kind of trainee program here, we should embrace this one. Yes, so there still needs to be done more, quite sure.
It's been a very fascinating talk. For me, it was completely new to hear about the ambitions of becoming a dominant platform provider in Austria. I think it's very interesting to hear about all the interesting topics that are happening within ÖBB, all the IT initiatives that are being driven forward. So thank you very much for this conversation, and we look forward to what the future brings.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure too. Thank you.
Thank you.